Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. It is 8:15. This is News and Views on Salam Media. And we will be proceeding with our first interview, and that is with you, Saeed Abdalla, a Sudanese journalist but based in Johannesburg currently. And of course, we are talking about Darfur's deepening crisis as families flee rising atrocities. And it is a dire situation, undoubtedly. We understand that Sudan civilians are fleeing mounting atrocities, and the people that the people are fleeing from the RSF. They have captured the key western city of El Fasher late last month. And we also understand aid groups working on the ground say those who do manage to escape are now crammed into makeshift camps in Tawila, approximately 70 kilometers away, which is a barren stretch of desert that's rapidly becoming a desperate refuge. Salaam alaikum to you, Saeed Abdalla. Welcome to the program. And of course, as a Sudanese national yourself, very saddened to be talking to you about this desperate situation of our brothers and sisters in Sudan.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you for having me. Indeed, it's a sad story that side.
It's actually more than sad. It's absolutely desperate. And what we've been hearing up to now is that it is now really reaching genocidal proportions. What are you hearing from the people back home in Sudan?
Yeah, exactly. That happened after the what happened last October. What's the At the moment what the aid agencies, as you mentioned, that thousands who fled after the fall of Al Fashir in the at the end of October are now sheltering in a makeshift camps in Tawila. And Tawila is a camp that's just not that far from Al Fashir, and we have also a bad stories about these camps, because the camps that were made in early 2000 after Darfur war, that time is still that there are still people living that side, and now we're only creating new camps, and that shows the 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 problem or the crisis in Sudan is only getting worse throughout the last few decades. And the conditions, as you mentioned, also is very dire. It's very dire, and over 80,000 people have arrived since late October, and many they just came on foot and the threat of attack from the RSF. The local hospital is also overwhelmed with trauma cases and severe malnutrition, while families survive on 1 or 2 meals a day with little access to medicine or clean water. The UN warns of ongoing atrocities inside Al Fashir, even as both the RSF and the Sudanese army claim to accept a humanitarian truce. But this was just like a way of just to please, or to just to show to lie to the international community. But for the people inside, the situation is desperate, and now we reach to a point where we have almost more than nearly like 14 million displaced, have and half of the population facing hunger as well. Like it's about 25 million as well facing hunger. Sudan's war is just simply, I can say that it's the world's worst humanitarian crisis at the moment.
Sadly, we also understand that Doctors Without Borders have reported that they've received at least 1,500 people from Al Fashir since the city fell. And also, they're saying that many of the people that are coming to the hospital have very serious fractures and trauma injuries. The aid agency goes on to say that hundreds more are still arriving every day. Many are severely malnourished, and they're seeing extremely high levels of malnutrition amongst children and adults alike. So it suggests that the humanitarian situation is absolutely dire, and displaced families are surviving on on as little as one or two very, very meager meals per day, and there's no access to clean water or medicine. And this is a cry as far as Doctors Without Borders are also the plea that they're putting out to the international community.
Yeah, indeed, that it shows we need a truce at the moment. We need a real ceasefire, because with this humanitarian crisis, you need access for aid. You need to mitigate the dire situation, and you need just these aid workers to engage with the people on the ground. Now, with the lack of aid and with the lack of humanitarian aids, I think it's getting tougher. It's getting worse. Like for these people to reach for these survivors, and I think it's this the leaders of two warring factions. They should realize that, like, this crisis, this horrific crisis, and I think they should just give some a bit of time. Like, I think what the US now is, and what's this international community is proposing, it's a 3 month ceasefire. This can help a lot with the people on the ground. I think that's my only concern now. It's the people on the ground. My only concern is it's those like people cannot reach to food or water. Those people in a need of medical assistance. Those kids are having like malnutrition, and those people are like, they don't have homes. They are sheltering, whether in Darfur, whether in a Dabba, which is in the close to the north of Sudan, and without that we cannot just help with the situation. Even though there's lack of humanitarian aid at the moment as well from the international community, but now the problem is not only that. The problem is how to access and how to get there safely and how to help with the situation.
The sad situation is that it reminds us of exactly what's happening in Palestine. We do know that there was supposed to have been a ceasefire, and the Americans, the international community, together with Netanyahu, promised that they'll allow aid to go to get to the starving people of Gaza. That didn't happen. They're only allowing a trickle of food to go in. Sudan's situation is a little different in that we understand that the UAE is funding this war on the people of Sudan simply because they're wanting the gold reserves of Sudan. And because there's so much of greed that seems to be at play here, I kind of wonder if any ceasefire talks that have been agreed to will be upheld. So it's a very, very worrying situation, is it not?
I think, let me be very clear here. The RSF committed genocide in Al Fashir, just like they committed genocide before in Al Jineina. The RSF was backed by the Emiratis. This is There's no doubt about that. I can say it very clear here. But only simplifying that this war is around the Emirati, I think that's not the full picture here. The SAF as well, which is the Sudanese Armed Forces, also back with other countries. This is the complexity of this war in Sudan. That's not only the internal factors or the two local factions. There's also international faction, like countries are backing these two warring sides, and that's all is not in our it's not in our sake, at the Sudanese civilian, at the Sudanese people, because this is all only go like for the political interest, and they're using the humanitarian crisis as a way of showing the international community, look, we are suffering, these people are suffering, or this country, to blame each other. I really don't care. I want the wars to stop now. Like, I don't care who's funding who, because both sides, they have people to fund them. Stop the war, talk to each other, find a solution, and then the UN or the ICJ or whatever can just come and hold those people accountable. This is my only worry for me. Like, it's the only people, like, the people who are suffering and no one like care about them. It's the people on the ground. others, they're using this political, and they're using this war for their political interest. And I think the right thing to do, to be done at the moment, to stop this war, because there's no military solution for anyone. There is no Sudanese people are gaining nothing from this war. It's only those leaders, it's only those uh, uh, people who are supporting this war.
And sadly, because there is so much at stake for the two warring parties and the outside interference, you kind of wonder when the ceasefire will in fact come into effect. It's really greed that drives these type of wars and genocides, unfortunately. Do ask that there is a ceasefire and real soon, and that's where we will leave it. Saeed Abdalla, Sudanese journalist based in Johannesburg, talking to us about the dire need for food and medication and fully run hospitals in Sudan. Assalamu alaikum to you.
عليكم السلام. شكرا.
It is exactly 8:27. This is News and Views moving along this Monday morning, the 10th of November. Stay with us. We will be with you till 10 o'clock this morning.